Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about something that I got to see over the weekend, which was Aladdin on Broadway. That's right, the Broadway musical based on the hit Disney animated film from 1992, Aladdin. And I gotta say, this was my very first Disney Broadway musical seeing in person for the first time. There has been so many Broadway musicals for Disney, starting with the Beauty and the Beast back in the mid 90s, and then going into the Lion King, which is still on Broadway today. I was really excited to see one because I've been wanting to see one for some years now, ever since around the time of Newsies. I remember when Newsies, there was always ads on it on the radio, playing the music and all that. And I'm like, wait a minute, Newsies? I know that. That's that Christian Bale movie. The movie with Christian Bale singing Santa Fe and all that stuff. And to find out that they made a musical of it was really cool. I remember wanting to see it, but then by the time I was really trying to convince people who could come with me, it was already too late. The show was finally closing. It didn't last that long, but eventually they did put it on Disney Plus, which is available to watch still, and that's how I finally got to see my first Disney Broadway musical. It was Newsies on Disney Plus, and I really loved it. I loved the production design. I loved the music. Obviously, a lot of it was the same music from the original film in 1992, funny enough, with Christian Bale. But obviously, if I was going to see something Disney on Broadway, it should be something even more special. And my top two favorite animated films, if you haven't known already, I've said this many times in past videos, especially when talking about my favorite Disney animated films, is Aladdin and The Lion King. So I kept saying that if any of those two came to Toronto, those two would definitely be the ones that I would want to see the most. And thankfully, Aladdin has finally arrived in Toronto. It actually arrived around a little bit after Valentine's Day, funny enough. And I got to see it, and I was pleasantly very, very happy with this Broadway production. I wish I could have seen it when it originally came out. Apparently, they're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the show today, which was really cool. Today is February 26th, just to catch you up. And because Jonathan Freeman, who voiced Jafar in the original animated film, and has done so in many other places like Kingdom Hearts and the direct-to-videos like Return of Jafar. Wherever Jafar showed up as an animated character, Jonathan Freeman always showed up as Jafar. Apparently, he also played Jafar in the early years of the Broadway stage show, and it would have been so amazing to see him play Jafar in live action. It's like not too many actors. We're starting to see that now, I guess, on television and movies, where the animated voice actors are now starting to pop up in live action. But you can kind of say maybe Jonathan Freeman kind of did it first. Maybe not. Don't take that as fact. But yeah, I think that was pretty cool learning about that. But getting to see it now, man, getting to see the production design on how the sets are, like, I get fascinated with this stuff because it's very simple when you think about it, but then you have to remember, like, people had to build that stuff on stage, and as simple or as not simple as it might seem, I'm always fascinated with it. And the set design that really caught me by awe when I saw it was the inside of the Cave of Wonders. I thought that looked amazing. Because you're always wondering how are they going to adapt the movie for stage, and that was a scene that I thought, oh yeah, that looks cool, man. That looks like you're in a cave with treasures, even though it's mostly gold all throughout. It was really cool seeing how they handled that scene. The cast in this show is great. I thought all of them did a great job, especially the actor who played the genie. I thought he was, obviously the genie is the show stealer for every version of Aladdin, right? In the animated movie, Robin Williams was the show stealer. Will Smith kind of was pretty much the stealing the show in the live action film. That's why they hired him. And the genie in this Broadway production also steals the show. So I'm not surprised, because the genie is the kind of character that can break the fourth wall and have fun with the audience and all that. So, and the jokes are obviously over the top with him. So, especially there's a moment where he even says, "Hey, Toronto," you know? So that was really cool. That was the breaking the fourth wall joke. But there was also some other funny humor. Like, there was a reference to Baby Grogu from Mandalorian, and there was a reference, two Marvel references I caught. There was a Wakanda reference, and there was great power comes great responsibility. So it was all fun. And there was some other jokes, not pop culture related, that were really great too. I'm always curious when coming into these plays, like what are the differences going to be? Because obviously you can't do a direct adaptation on stage. So one of the biggest differences is obviously the absence of Abu the monkey. Right? In the animated film and the live action film, Abu is Aladdin's pet sidekick. He is not in this version of the story. Neither is Iago, sort of. Iago is in the play, but he is humanized, right? He's a human, like a bumbling character. Kind of similar to like Otis, I guess, from like the early Christopher Reeve Superman movies. That's how I would probably describe Iago. He's the little pudgy, bumbling guy in this play. But they do make a little reference to him being a parrot in previous versions of the story, where he starts copying Jafar, and he's, "Are you going to parrot to me all the time?" And so that was the little reference to him being a parrot in the animated version of the story. Obviously, the rest of the characters are more or less true to how they were in the original animated film and live action. And a lot of the new songs were great too. You know, usually when you add new songs to something that was already pre-established, it's always hard for them to match up. But I think because Alan Menken was one of the composers who came to the Broadway show to help with the new songs, I think that definitely helped ease them into the feel of the original animated film. As well as bringing back a song that was deleted from the original film, "Proud of Your Boy." It was really nice hearing that on stage for the first time. Now, obviously, the actors that I seen were not the original actors. I obviously have the soundtrack of Aladdin on Broadway, but it's different when you actually are there watching it. And I think all the actors did a fantastic job that were on stage performing on Saturday. I will say that I am really looking forward to the Lion King Broadway show, because that's supposed to be coming to Toronto in November. And I know that's been in New York for like a very long time, but for it to come here makes it more accessible to me, and I'm really looking forward to what the Lion King on Broadway is going to be like in person. Obviously, I've seen clips of it on YouTube, but it's not the same, and it's obviously not the full show. And I want to see the full show in its glory. I want to see them how they tell the story, and hopefully, I think they will succeed just like Aladdin did, because there's a reason The Lion King has been on Broadway for as long as it has. But for Aladdin in particular, you know, if you are somebody that's hesitant about going to these things, because I don't know if I like Broadway, believe me, if you love the original Disney animated film, this sticks true to that, but adds more to it. Adds more songs, adds more, a little bit more scenes, things to help, you know, fit on a Broadway stage, because, you know, they're a little limited. For one big example, obviously Jafar doesn't turn into a giant snake in this version of the story, because, you know, a giant snake would be, like, difficult to replicate on the stage, where in an animated movie it's usually you know, a little tougher. That's why I was so disappointed that the live action movie didn't do the big giant snake when Jafar turns into a snake, because they could have done it really cool with CGI. Instead, they gave us a giant Iago. I still like the live action version, but the animated version is just like cool, man. And I just wish the live action version would have done that. I will not be hard on the stage show for not giving us a giant snake, because it's like, Yeah, okay, I get it. I get why you didn't. But they still had a little fun on how it was all wrapping up at the end. I think still was pretty impressed with how they pulled it off. And look, I really enjoyed this Broadway show, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. I might be seeing another Broadway show, not Disney related, in July, because there's another movie coming out that's based off a Broadway show, and I thought maybe I should check out the Broadway show first before said movie comes out. It's going to be Wicked. That's right, Wicked comes to Toronto in July, and I'm looking forward to checking that one out. And The Lion King is supposed to come out in November, so I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait till tickets are released, because I will definitely buy a ticket to see The Lion King. So with that being said, guys, have you ever seen any Broadway musicals before this? The Phantom of the Opera was the very first musical I ever seen. It was a school field trip, so I got to go see that, obviously, for that. And I do remember the Lord of the Rings Broadway musical. I don't know if anybody remembers. I think it was really short-lived, and I think the show I saw was like one of the first openings, so they didn't have everything right yet. I don't remember too much about it. Funny enough, I always remembered the Phantom of the Opera a lot more, and I did buy the Phantom of the Opera on iTunes, which is available up there. And because I do like that stage production, I even like the movie that Joel Schumacher directed in 2004. I thought it was a really faithful adaptation to the Broadway musical. I am someone that loves musicals, so definitely if you have seen any Broadway musicals, it doesn't have to be the ones that I listed. It could be any. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm curious, and tell me what you thought of some of these Broadway shows. It doesn't have to be Disney related. It could be anything that you've seen. My parents, I know, they said they saw Cats back in the day when that was a show back in Broadway, before in Toronto, of course. So let me know. I'd be curious to know what other people have seen in the past. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy your day. Until next time, everybody, take care.